Okay, so this is part 2 of this tutorial. Part 1, I showed you how to add some drums and trigger them. Trigger these different drum scenes by launching these clips. All you gotta do is press the little arrow. So if you don't know how I did that, or you want some extra help or whatever, just go back to that first video. So for this video, I'm going to create some other elements. I'm gonna write some simple parts, some melodies, a bass line, something to support this so that I could create a more complex arrangement. So first I'm going to pick something that I like, a sound. Can't hear anything, so I'm going to press this little headphone icon. Okay, cool. This is interesting. I'm going to click and drag it over here, and now a new vertical MIDI track has been created for me. I'm going to rename this bass, maybe sub bass. Okay. And I'm going to turn the keyboard tool on up here on the top right so I can hear what's happening. I'm just going to press one note for the purpose of this tutorial to show you that you can actually make something pretty complex with just one note. So I am going to press 1 up there, and I'm going to press play and record and just record that one note. Great, okay. Let's go see what I did. Alright, so I made this note. I want to bring this all the way to the top. Okay, and that was a C that I pressed. I know that because if I click on it, it says C right there. And as I move my mouse up the piano roll, it shows me the different notes that I can input. Now, one thing is that I want this to be 2 measures long. So let me bring in this flag. Okay, let's try it out. Oh. I want it to go up to the 3. That's what's going on. Here we go. So the length should be 2 measures. And that's what I was messing up. Okay, cool. Now let's add something to this. Perhaps another instrument. Let's see what else we can add. So we have a bass, and if we're thinking about the different elements of a song, we have melody or lead. We have rhythm. We have foundation, which is usually bass and drums. So we've just done a foundation here. Let's try to think of a pad or maybe a melody. So let's look at the instruments again, and I'm going to go to ambient to see if I could find some sort of pad. These are all very, very lush, full, big sounds. I don't necessarily need anything that big because then it's going to drown everything I just did out. So I'm trying to find something that's not super complex. Let's put the headphones on. These are wild. Okay, great, fine. Okay, dragging that over here. Let's press record. Okay, same note, C, but I brought it up an octave by pressing X on my keyboard to bring the key up, or the octave up. I'm going to press record. Okay, that's it. That's all I did. Let's listen to what that does. And let's double click it. Is it the right length? Yes, it's 1 measure. It starts there. I just want this to start. Maybe that's fine. Yep. Okay, simple. Same note. It is still a C, but instead of C1, which if we look over here, this is C1, so it's C octave 1. This is C octave 2. Oops, there we go. So now let's add one other layer. Let's go back to our instrument database and see what we got. Ambient, brass, experimental. Let's see what the pads sound like. Great, let's do this. Sounds interesting. Okay, I'm gonna click and drag it into, oops, I did the wrong thing. Click and drag it over here. Great. So everything works as is. I just pressed undo because I accidentally double clicked it and I changed the sound for this note. But I like that. I didn't want to change it. So let's come over here. I'm going to press this key A, which is corresponding to C on my piano roll. Again, let's just press record right here. Cool. So let's see what happens if I maybe add this here. I put my bass there. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is to create an arrangement out of these segments. So I'm duplicating all of these things I did so that the first row is the simplest row. The second row adds the bass. The third row adds the little tone I created. The fourth column or fourth row adds this little swell that we made. And now, if you're wondering what am I going to do with that, if I press play up here on the master track, I'm going to launch every clip that is on the same horizontal line as this flag, this play button. So if I press this one, now both of these turn on at the same time. And now if I press 3, all 3 of these rows were activated. So let's say we've had this going for a little bit. I'm ready for that big chorusy moment. I'm going to go ahead and press button 4. And that created some sort of variation. So these are some of the ways you can start to create clips and launch the clips on individual instruments so that you can arrange something without actually having to sequence every single note across the horizontal channel strip. And instead, you can press record, launch something from the very top. We have our simple clip. I'm going to go to line 2. Let that go for a moment. Let me launch line 3. Great. I have something complex happening. And now I want to make this swell. And I'm going to bring it back down. And now I'm back at my horizontal third line. And I want to end the song, so I'm going to go to 1. And I press stop. And now, if I look over here, everything I just did was actually sequenced. And if I press this orange button, I can actually see all of those little layers that I played back through the clip view and clip launch view. And that's it. Then you can go into each of these little segments, make changes if you want to. It's not permanent. Add effects. Maybe I want to create some sort of effect. I'm going to make a separate video for that. Stay tuned.